There are 5 minutes left before the race starts.
One last time, good afternoon everybody. Live from Nizhny Tagil, you are watching the very last competition of the FIS Continental Cup in Nordic Combined. And we are just 5 minutes ahead of the start for the men's individual Gundersen 5 kilometer cross country race. Also for me, Luis Holuch, it's the final time this season to be your commentator, and therefore I'm really looking forward to accompany you through this event. As usual, when the season is coming to an end, you are getting a bit nostalgic and think back on how the season was. It definitely was extraordinary, nothing we have ever experienced before. But as we here in the middle of March and experiencing this event, we can tell it could have been even worse, and therefore we promised ourselves that we are very much enjoying this final event. And as usual, when we're talking about a big final, it is also a big format actually. We already experienced 2 rounds of ski jumping earlier this morning with a bit tricky wind conditions, we definitely have to admit. Quite a bit of turbulences here and there. Luckily without any incidents. And so we can prepare ourselves for a hopefully interesting cross-country race here. Last year, when the event was kind of rescheduled due to the COVID situation back then, we didn't have this type of events. So the last time we actually saw it was in 2019. Where Thomas Jöbstel of Austria won that competition ahead of Thomas Sportik from Republic, and Jakob Lange from Germany. The best competitor back then, who's also with us today, actually was Samir Mastiev of Russia on 9th place, ahead of David Mach from Germany. And so we can't really tell who is going to be in favor of this type of event, but we can tell that 15 kilometers is actually a very, very long distance. 6 laps will be needed to ski, in contrast to the 4 we saw on Friday and Saturday. And here are the top 3 after the ski jumping rounds. Lars Ivar Skorseth from Norway with jumps on 88 and 83 meters took 3rd position with a total score of 204.2 points. He will be starting 1 minute and 13 seconds after our leader. 2nd place went to Simon Tiller, our Continental Cup overall leader and also winner, we can tell already, with 88 and 93 meters, 215.7 points he scored in total. And Terence Weber, our double winner this weekend, with the longest jump of the competition, 97.5 meters in the first round and then 81.5, and this is actually telling you how difficult this competition rounds have been. But his total score of 222.4 points was beaten by no one else. And this is how the start list unfolds. We see lots of Germans and Austrians within the top 10. The best Russian athletes then will follow with bib number 13, Vyacheslav Barkov. Here on the 3rd page we see lots of Russians. And the final page will be rounded up by 3 Kazakhs and the final Russian event athlete, as we are on the way with Terence Weber, the team silver medalist of the World Ski Championships in Oberstdorf, started his journey on these 15 kilometers, a distance he also knows from the World Cup. That is one that is also being used in the very final competition. Simon Tiller starting 27 seconds behind the German. One last day in the office for him to secure his overall Continental Cup victory. He never really was in danger during this weekend, especially thanks to his strong appearances on the ski jumping hill. But it's super nice to see the guys here are very relaxed ahead of this longest journey of the winter, but for most of them the season will also end here. Not too many of them will compete in the World Cup final next weekend. If you haven't heard that it was actually scheduled in Schonach, but due to a lack of snow there in the Black Forest, the friends from Klingenthal took it over. So we will be back in the Vogtland once again next week. Everything is perfectly in place there. But for one or even more athletes, it's definitely a chance to gain spots for this World Cup final. Probably also for the Germans, which are following up right now with Julian Schmid with bib number 6. 20 seconds behind him, then David Mach will follow. And also here we only have 9 athletes starting in the regular way. Then the wave start will be used from bib number 10 on, which will be Simon Hüttel of Germany. We can see on the right hand side. And as well as for the women, there's also the chance that athletes here are not going to the start, simply because their gap to the top is just too big. And in contrast to the women's field, there are 4 athletes here which will not score any Continental Cup points, as we have 34 competitors from 6 different nations on the start list. This is Fabio Obermeier of Austria, more specifically from Bad Mitterndorf, the place where the Kulm ski flying hill is located, which has applied for hosting the FIS Ski Flying World Championships in 2024. And since they are the only candidates so far, their chances for hosting this event are actually pretty good. And speaking of ski flying, actually also Simon Tiller we have here in the picture, has made his very own experiences actually. Probably a fact not too many people know about him, but he was active as a floor jumper in 2019 in Vikersund at the so-called Monsterbakken, the ski flying hill where the world record was set by Stefan Kraft. And in this function, Simon flew 224 meters. Not too bad, actually. It takes a lot going down regular ski jumping hills, and it takes even more to jump down these big guys, actually. Here we have the 2 Austrians, Manuel Einkemmer ahead of Thomas Rettenegger, forming a tandem, we can actually say. And sometimes it's just nice to have a look on these wonderful pictures, to just enjoy them. I mean, it's calm, of course, no spectators here, but especially with this beautiful weather conditions, totally enjoyable. And also the tracks here, perfectly shaped, perfectly groomed. And this was quite a quick opening lap for Terence Weber, pretty much going at World Cup pace, we can sort of say. And as we don't have intermediate times, we will now have a look on how the gaps behind him actually evolved. So let's say he finished this first lap with 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Started 27 seconds ahead of Simon Tiller. Who's also showing quite a solid pace here. Yeah, around 20 seconds behind the Germans, so he was skiing even a bit faster. And of course for him it would be a perfect finish of the season to also close it off with a victory, but it's not the most natural thing if you have such a strong opponent against you as Terence Weber actually is. But after all, Tiller's season with 2 victories, 2 second positions and the 3rd place on Friday actually went very, very well, as Lars Ivar Skorset finishes his first lap around 1 minute and 20 seconds behind Weber, so lost a couple of seconds, but not that much. Einkemmer and Rettenegger still together here. Going around the hairpin, around 2 minutes behind Weber. So also there, not too much actually has changed. But it seems as Simentilla is feeling quite good on the cross-country course today. Looking very smooth, very relaxed here. Not stressed too much. And having the view here down the stadium area, you can somehow imagine how the course is actually shaped and designed. But also Weber, very nice technique, very, very smooth. Definitely on a good way to secure his third victory in a row, and he has been competing quite a lot in the Continental Cup before the season, but never scored a victory, and changed that fact on Friday with taking the win in the regular Gundersen event. Also yesterday in the mass start, very convincing performance. And also today with the 2 jumps and the 15 kilometers cross-country race. It doesn't seem to bother him at all. So he pretty much reached the peak of each and every lap. And also gets some more instructions on how to ski until there. The highest point of this track is actually at 303 meters above sea level, so we are not high at all here. It's definitely no real mountain area, but pretty much in the middle of Russia. Very, very stable snow conditions, as we can see here. And the total height difference of this track is only 49 meters, so not that much. You're basically skiing at 2 different levels. You have the stadium area, and then it goes smoothly uphill. Until you make this long, long left-hander. And it goes back downhill towards the stadium area then again. So here we have a quadruple of a chasing group. 2 Austrians and the 2 Germans. Up in front, Thomas Rettenegger. In between, then Julian Schmid and David Mach. And Manuel Einkemmer is also with them. Terence Weber now about to finish his second lap, which isn't much slower than the first one actually. And we can also see he's feeling quite comfortable, not investing that much, keeping a steady rhythm, focusing on a solid technique, and that's basically the task. In the beginning, it definitely gets complicated by itself. Those of you who practice cross-country skiing in their free time when it's possible know what it feels like. Simentilla lost a couple of seconds, but not too many. Around 25 seconds he is behind, and then pretty much ended up at the same gap he had after the start. But he can also be sure there's no real threat coming from behind. It actually looks a bit different for his country fella, Lars Ivar Skorset on third place. We haven't had him in our picture for quite a long time, and here we can already see the first athletes being lapped, which is Bekaris Archibek from Kazakhstan. And the view on his face told us a lot about how that actually feels like. He simply couldn't believe that Weber already breezed past him. But that's how it is. So, Skorset lost additional 10 seconds to Weber and obviously also to his teammate Tiller. But in contrast to other categories, the lapped athletes are allowed to actually finish this race. And Archibek already had this experience during this weekend, so he knows what is happening. Weber getting good feedback from his coach, so everything is still working according to the plan he made before, and Archibek already left the space for Tiller to actually pass him. Very fair gesture from the Kazakh, who already had a gap of 8 minutes and 14 seconds after the jumping round to Weber. And it just won't become less, obviously. Here we have Taylor Fletcher on the left-hand side of the United States, passing Dominik Terza, if I saw that correctly. Fletcher started in the third wave at 3 minutes and 20 seconds behind the leader, but his actual gap to the top was 4 minutes and 22 seconds, but we know from the performances in the past couple of days that he is definitely one of the strongest cross-country skiers in this field. If only the jumping was working out for him. It's a pretty lonely race for the top three, but also for the back markers. As we see, this is Vyacheslav Bochkarev from Kazakhstan. 11 minutes and 10 seconds behind on a normal hill, actually. This is very much insane, but that's how it is if you have world-class athletes such as Terence Weber on the start list. They basically determine how close the back markers actually can even get to the stronger athletes. It starts with the in-run length on the ski jumping hill, which is also affecting the in-run speed, of course. The weaker athletes naturally need more speed in the in-run to actually compensate their weaknesses. And as we saw it throughout the weekend, if they have to jump from gate number 12, I think that's basically just too short for them. So it's pretty much halftime for Terence Weber. Now he also laps another Kazakh athlete. That's Bochkarev with bib number 34. So while Weber concludes his third lap, Bochkarev only finishes his second. And once again, we are having a look on the graphics because that's the only indicator we have concerning the gaps, unfortunately, but that's how it is in the Continental Cup. 18 minutes and 15 seconds he needed for half the distance. So this last lap basically was at the same pace as the lap before. That's pretty much insane. And Tiller now still 25 seconds behind, so he's able to go the same pace, only the gap to Weber was just too big. This is Bekaris Acibek once again getting some screen time here, making his first experiences on TV actually. Sometimes it's just the small things which give a certain delight to athletes. And it's also part of getting experience, of course. You grow with every single race. And obviously the ultimate goal for each and every athlete is at least the World Cup, if not being part of World Championships or Olympic Winter Games. So the gap of Skorset is around 1 minute and 40 seconds, so he constantly loses 10 seconds each lap, which is definitely not a shame considering the guys he's competing against it, and he's also able to keep the gap behind him. Still here the quadruple of Julian Schmid, Manuel Einkemmer, Thomas Rettenegger and David Mach all together. So far they seem to work together quite well, which is also a key part if you actually want to make up a couple of places. But the only athletes they can actually reach in theory is Lars Ivar Skorset, and even to the Norwegian the gap is at around 1 minute, and from behind we see Taylor Fletcher coming up. And the other athletes might have been either Dominik Terze or Fabio Obermeier. Couldn't see it properly. At least it was an Austrian for certain. And I'm also curious to see if this additional competitions Weber was having here in Russia will actually help him next weekend in Klingenthal. At least he's keeping that rhythm of competing every single weekend. This is going to be interesting, but he actually made sort of a breakthrough this season, that's for sure. Twice he finished 8th in the World Cup in Ramsau am Dachstein, Austria, and also in Klingenthal. So that was definitely not a bad news for him that the World Cup final will be moved there. Lars Ivar Skorset taking a short view behind. But the last gap, as we could actually somehow guess, still looked very, very promising for the Norwegian. And here the chasing group is getting bigger and bigger. It's actually Fabio Obermeier from the Austrian team who joined it alongside Taylor Fletcher. So 6 athletes here for the moment fighting for 4th position, if not more. This will be shown in the remaining second half of this long cross-country race. At the moment, Julian Schmid is making the pace ahead of Manuel Einkemmer, then Taylor Fletcher, David Mach, Thomas Rettenegger and Fabio Obermeier in the back. But Fletcher seems to feel very, very well, which is why he is overtaking here. And he also takes a short nip from a bottle. Why not? So we can now note the next split time as Terence Weber came to the stadium once again, and once again he posts the same lap time. This is just impressive. 24 minutes and 30 seconds he needed for these 10 kilometers. It's just working really, really well for him. Tiller now lost another 5 seconds, but once again, this is a great cross-country performance by him. But now the interesting time of this race is actually starting, since the distance is now getting longer than they are usually skiing in the regular individuals. With bib number 33 we see Vladimir Strugiewicz, and with bib number 30 Marjan Amankaljuli. The next back markers, Terence Weber is actually going to lap. Lars Ivar Skorset was around 1 minute and 40 seconds behind 1 lap earlier. Yeah, and it's basically 10 seconds each and every lap for him. But since also the others behind are not really coming closer, there's nothing to worry about for him. Taylor Fletcher is now taking the lead, and I guess he at least wants to try to close the gap to Skorset, as Obermeier has dropped a bit out of this group. Surely he invested a bit in order to actually reach it, and now has to let the others go as the pace is getting slightly faster. But for him this actually would be a great closing of the weekend, which had its bad moment yesterday when he crashed shortly after the start of the mass start. Weber now lapped Ivan Brunin from Russia. But I have a feeling that Taylor has lost another tiny bit against him, but pretty sure he knew before that he actually won't really have a realistic chance against the German star. And also he already secured the overall Continental Cup victory, so why would he invest more than actually required, especially at the end of this extraordinary season? Still in the current season, probably his favorite result was an 11th place in Klingenthal. So on a large hill, which definitely favors the stronger ski jumpers such as him. But once again, he's definitely showing today that he's also a good cross-country skier. And his worst position in this Continental Cup was the 9th place yesterday in the mass start. And that is also demonstrating how well deserved this overall win actually is. And here we could also see how close the cross-country track actually is to the ski jumping hills. And for Weber, the penultimate lap is coming to an end. Slightly slower than the laps before, but it doesn't really matter. And it's also totally natural that you can't ski 6 laps with the exact same pace. But even this lap was only 15 seconds slower than the ones before. It's yeah, just overall very, very impressive. Let's see how it looks like for Simon Tiller. Well, didn't lose another 5 seconds. But absolutely convincing on the slim skis. Now you might think, well, he's 25 years old. For a Nordic Combiner, this is actually an average age. Some guys need a bit of time before they actually come into the World Cup. Some are a bit faster, some are a bit slower. But with this season, he actually made a very good points. And we are very curious to see him back in the World Cup circuit. Maybe he might even get a chance next week in Klingenthal. Why not? Because he scored good results there. And if not, I'm pretty sure we will see him back at the beginning of next season. Lars Ivar Skorseth, 1 minute and 55 seconds behind Weber, so 1 minute 20 behind Ziller. Here we see another couple of lapped athletes, Timofey Borisov and Eduard Zhirnov, both from Russia. And another Austrian has dropped out of the chasing group. Thomas Redenegger is not with Manuel Einkemmer, Taylor Fletcher, David Mach and Julian Schmid anymore. And if I calculated correctly, the gap of this group to Skorseth is at around 30 seconds. Nothing impossible on 2.5 kilometers, but they definitely need to hurry up. That's for sure. But it's not like this third place is actually there for the taking. Definitely not. It also would require a weak lap by the Norwegian. And if you speak a bit of German, you could hear what this staff member told him. Very, very great job. I think, well, how can you judge it any different? Everything went perfect so far, and it's definitely not gonna change on this second half of the very last lap. And there he already is on the final path back to the stadium. A lap definitely to enjoy, but with bib number 16 we saw a short impression of Jan Andersen. Taylor now overtook Ivan Brunin, who needs to ski another lap afterwards, obviously. But for Terence Weber, this longest race of the season is coming to an end. He already receives the first congratulations, also well deserved. No doubt about that. The 24-year-old from Gaia in Saxony, and not so far away from Oberwiesenthal, a clubmate of the legendary Erik Frenzel, is actually equalizing the results of Tara Gareth Demotes. It's 3-3 for Terence Weber. A victory on Friday in the regular Gundersen individual, a victory in yesterday's mass start event, and also the victory in today's extended Gundersen. Congratulations. Glückwunsch, Terence. Great job. Großartige Leistung an diesem Wochenende. but also for Simon Tiller. It's moments to be enjoyed. Another second place added into his books. And the final confirmation. He's going to be our Continental Cup overall winner in the season 2020-2021. Gratulerer, Simon. Great job. Great job. And the pace in the chasing group increased, and they actually managed to catch Lars Ivar Skorset. So the fight for the third position in today's ranking is still on. And I'm pretty sure that Taylor Fletcher is keen to actually take it after he finished 4th yesterday. And also on Friday, but the most promising position now has Julian Schmidt leading the group ahead back to this finish straight, and it looks very much like he's gonna take it. So another German on the podium. Unfortunately, another 4th place for Taylor Fletcher. It would have been so much deserved, but that's how it is. Manuel Einkemmer coming to the finish behind him, but he's actually ranked ahead of him due to the gap after the ski jumping round. So David Mach on 4th place, Manuel Einkemmer 5th, and Lars Ivar Skorset 6th, ahead of Taylor Fletcher.
The 7th place is taken by B3 Lars Ivar Skorset, Norway.
And up next, coming to the finish, Thomas Rettenegger of Austria. But I'm pretty sure we are seeing another Austrian arriving in the top 10, and that's how it is. Fabio Obermeier started ninth, finished ninth. A solid day at the office for him.
Под номером 9 финиширует участник. 9-й Фабио Обермайер, Австрия.
And the 10th place is taken by Steven Schumann of the United States of America. At least for the moment, we will see who is following him until the finish. But once again, a very solid job by the US boy on the cross-country track. Jared Shoemate, Wendelin Tannheimer, Vyacheslav Barkov, and Kasper Moen-Flatler arriving now to the finish. So that 10th place of Shoemate already passed. For the moment, it belongs to Vyacheslav Barkov, who then certainly will be the best Russian. And Taylor Fletcher obviously can't really believe his luck. Again, a 4th place for the 3rd time in a row. A bit bittersweet, certainly. And the sprint for the next places is on. Dominik Terzer arriving ahead of Mark-Louis Reiner to the finish. Terzer ranked 12th behind Kasper Moen-Flatler. Mark-Louis Reiner now dropped to 16th place as Simon Hüttel arrived at the finish. But for Steven Schumann, I think we can confirm the 17th position. Right behind him, his teammate Niklas Malacinski.
Финишировал участник под номером 20 Артем Галунин, Россия. B20 Артем Галунин, Russia. Финишировал участник под номером 14 Николас Малачинский.
was a bit of a surprise that Lars Ivar Skorset, we can see here, was eventually caught by the group behind. But we could also notice that the pace within that group was getting faster and faster with every second towards the end of the race. But still for him, it was a good weekend. He finished second twice and today 6th position. And we will also get the confirmation after this race has finished what this is actually going to mean for the overall. But like I said, it was clear that Tiller was going to take the overall victory. David Mach, who finished 4th today, will take 50 points, so he should be ahead of Espen Andersen. Score set on 6th place will gain 40 points, so also he will be ahead of Andersen. But if my maths are not mistaken, it should be David Mach who is taking the 2nd position ahead of Skorset. But as I've mentioned earlier, we will also broadcast the prize giving ceremonies to you, so we will have enough time to actually confirm that once the race is finished and the results also confirmed. The latest athletes arriving to the finish at the moment were Cengiz Rakparov and Magjan Amankejuli for Kazakhstan. Only a handful of athletes still on the track. For Amankejuli, this is the 2nd points results in a row, and for Rakparov it's even a hat trick. So, still on the course, if the timing is not mistaken, are Nikita Kirillov, Bekaris Archipek and Vyacheslav Bochkarev. So, 3 athletes. Vladimir Strugievich came to the finish on 31st position, as we once again scroll through the results in the graphics. But very typical for this type of events. The gaps tend to be very, very big, and so they also turned out like this. There we can see Kazakh athletes arriving to the finish. That is Vyacheslav Bochkarev on rank number 32. And also Nikita Kirillov has made it to the finish. He will take 31st position, since his gap at the start wasn't as big as Bochkarev's was. So only the unexperienced Archibek should remain on the course. But it's great to see that even these athletes who literally have no chance on great results are still fighting on their own, trying to finish as good as somehow possible. So far we cannot see him, unfortunately. And in the finish area, the preparations for the prize-giving ceremonies are already starting. We have a total of 6 ceremonies. And as well as yesterday, we are also curious to see whether they will play the FIS fanfare on repeat. If you haven't watched the coverage yesterday, you should check out the ski jumping part once again, because that was probably the funniest moment of our broadcastings in total. And I feel there's a lot of potential today with having 6 ceremonies today. Of course, we are starting with the results of today, women and men. Then we have the top 3 overall, women and men, and then also the nations ranking. But there are also only the winners will be awarded according to our schedule.
Финиширует заключительный участник под номером 32. Because Satibek, Kazakhstan. B32. Because Satibek, Kazakhstan is finished. Финиш закрыт. Cross country is over. Thank you all. Через несколько минут состоится торжественная церемония награждения.
So, as we heard from the lovely stadium announcers, we can confirm that the cross-country race is finished, and therefore also the results is official. Bekaris Atibek finished the 15-kilometer cross-country race after 56 minutes and 1.1 seconds, 18 minutes and 44.2 seconds behind our winner. But like I said, this is also part of the format, and we can be pretty sure that he will take some lessons from this experience. He completed both events he was taking part this weekend, and this is the first achievement for him at his international debut. We can see in the background that already the banner and the podium spots are being prepared, so it shouldn't take too long until we will experience the prize giving ceremonies. According to our original schedule, the prize giving ceremonies are supposed to start in 18 minutes, but I'm slightly optimistic that we will start at least a couple of minutes earlier, if not in just a bit over 2 or 3 minutes. But so far we don't have any information yet. But actually, at least the women should already be prepared for it. since their race finished over an hour ago. So we still have a couple of minutes left before the ceremonies start. So in the meantime, I can tell you that another competition series has finished the season. We're talking about the Alpen Cup category, which had its final in Prémanon in France, with 2 competitions for women and men each. Yesterday and today, Annika Sief of Italy took both victories and put herself into 4th place in the individual ranking. 2nd places were taken by Magdalena Burger of Germany and Ema Volavšek of Slovenia, respectively. They finished 5th and 3rd in the overall. And the 3rd place was taken twice by Laura Pletz from Austria. And also the overall win went to an Austrian, a very familiar face from this weekend, actually. Sigrun Kleinrath crowned herself as the Alpen Cup overall winner ahead of Jenny Novak and Ema Volavšek. So 2 overall rankings on the same day. Not too bad. And also the men were competing. Again, we have seen a double victory, this time of Stefan Retzenegger, the brother of Thomas Retzenegger we saw competing here. He won on both competition days. Which puts him into 8th place in the overall victory. Yesterday's 2nd place was taken by Mathieu Beau from France. Today it was Simon Mach, the brother of David Mach, the younger brother, one of the younger brothers we should say. And the 3rd place were taken by Marco Aini yesterday, also from France. And today it was Sebastian Brandner of Austria who took the final spots on the podium. And also here in the overall ranking we see an Austrian winner, Florian Kolb. Congratulations to him. Marco Aini taking 2nd place ahead of Fabian Hafner, also Austrian. So overall a very, very successful weekend for Team Austria, who finished 2nd in the women's overall Nations Cup ranking in the Alpen Cup. The victory there went to Germany, and in the men's circuit, Austria on top of the results ahead of Germany and France.
Уважаемые участники и представители команд, через 1 минуту состоится торжественная церемония награждения.
In a minute we will start the prize giving ceremony.
Добрый день, уважаемые друзья! Сегодня в Нижнем Тагиле на комплексе трамплинов АЭС совершился розыгрыш финала континентального кубка по лыжному двоеборью.
Dear friends, today in Nizhny Tagil we have completed the Nordic Combined Continental Cup.
Начинаем церемонию награждения победителя,
So
призеров
these
и
are the
спортсменов,
trophies
занявших с 4
which
по
will
6
find
места
their
в третий
new
день финала
owners,
континентального
but
кубка по лыжному
as it
двоеборью
is standard,
среди
we are
женщин.
We are
starting off
starting the prize giving ceremony
with
for the third day of the Nordic Combined Continental Cup, and this ceremony is for ladies.
today's results. The
Награждение
top 6
проводит
athletes
заместитель министра
will be
физической
presented now.
культуры и спорта Свердловской области Александр Викторович Маслов.
Please welcome for the prize giving ceremony the Deputy Minister for Physical Education and Sport in Sverdlovsk region Alexander Maslov.
Начальник управления по развитию физической культуры, спорта и молодежной политики администрации города Нижний Тагил Ирина Львовна Еремеева.
Irina Yermeva, the Director of Physical Education, Sport and Youth Policy Department in Nizhny Tagil.
Президент Федерации прыжков на лыжах с трамплина и лыжного двоеборья России Дмитрий Эдуардович Дубровский.
And Dmitry Dubrovsky, the President of Ski Jumping and Nordic Combined Federation of Russia.
Шестое место заняла Синди Хэш, Германия. Церемонию награждения проводит Дмитрий Эдуардович Дубровский.
Please welcome for the sixth place Cindy Harsh, Germany. The prizes are being given by Dmitry Dubrovsky.
So this is our sixth place athletes today,
Пятое
Cindy
место
Harsh
заняла Мария Кузьмина, Россия.
of
Please welcome for the
Germany.
fifth place Maria Kuzmina, Russia.
She was even
Церемонию
close to
награждения проводит
reach
Ирина Львовна
the
Еремеева.
fifth place, which is
prizes
taken
are
by the
being
youngest
given by
athlete,
Irina
Mariana Kuzmina of Russia.
Четвертое место заняла Стефания Надымова, Россия.
Please
And
welcome for
the
the
best
first place
Russian
Stefania
athlete today,
Nadymova,
Stefania
Russia.
Церемонию
Nadymova
награждения
on
проводит Александр Викторович
4th
Маслов.
place.
Prizes are being given by Alexander Maslov.
Третье место заняла Анна Елена Слемик, Австрия.
Please welcome for
And
the
then
third
we
place
are
Anna-Lena
heading
Slemik,
onwards with
Austria.
Церемонию
our
награждения
podium setters
проводит
today.
Дмитрий
Third
Эдуардович
place
Дубровский.
The prizes
with
are
an
being
impressive
given by Dmitry
performance on the
Dubrovsky.
ski jumping hill, taking her first ever Continental Cup podium, Annalena Slamik of Austria.
Второе место заняла Зигрун Кляйнрад,
Second place,
Австрия.
Please
equalizing
welcome for the
her
second
best
place,
Continental
Sigrun
Cup
Kleinrath, Austria.
results in her career. Sigrun Kleinrath, also
Церемонию
Austria,
награждения проводит Ирина Львовна
already confirmed
Еремеева.
overall
Prizes are
Alpen
being
Cup
given by
winner,
Irina Yermeva.
and the other success we won't spoil her because there's another one coming up.
Первое
just a
место
couple of
заняла
minutes.
Сара Герасимов, США.
And the first
And
place, Sarah Gerasimov,
today's
United
winner,
States of
yesterday's
America.
winner, and the winner of the day before on Friday, Tara Gerasimov of the United States of America, scoring the maximum possible points results of 300 out of 300. No matter which format she had to compete in this weekend. She was always finishing on top, and therefore we are going to hear the national anthem of the United States of America.
Просим наших уважаемых гостей сделать общее фото со спортсменами.
The official photograph with the guests and the winner.
Спасибо нашим уважаемым гостям. Просим медалистов остаться на пьедестале почета для фото.
And now the official photograph with the top 6 athletes.
Спасибо всем собравшимся. Мы продолжаем церемонию награждения по итогам третьего дня финала континентального кубка по лыжному двоеборью.
Thank you, and we are going to continue with the next prize giving ceremony.
Приглашаются победитель, призеры и спортсмены, занявшие с 4 по 6 места во второй день финала континентального кубка по лыжному двоеборью среди мужчин.
Please welcome the winners for the third day of the Nordic Combined Continental Cup.
So they are absolutely sticking to our plan. We will continue with the prize-giving ceremony for today's best athletes. Sixth place to Lars Ivar Skorseth of Norway. He was able to keep this third spot until arriving to the finish area for the last time, but then lost out in the final sprints. Fifth place to Manuel Einkemmer of Austria. Started fifth, finished fifth. So on the ski jumping hill and also on the slim skis. Solid performance by the Austrian.
The prizes are being given by Alexander Maslov.
And the fourth place belongs to David Mach of Germany.
Третье место занял Юлиан Шмидт, Германия.
Please welcome for the third place, Julian Schmidt, Germany.
Церемонию награждения проводит Дмитрий
But
Эдуардович
he was
Дубровский.
The
only
prizes are being given by Dmitry Dubrovsky.
the third best German today, as Julian Schmid took the third place today.
Второе место занял Симон Тиллер, Норвегия.
Please welcome for the second place, Simon Tiller, Norway.
Церемонию
Second
награждения
place
проводит
to
Ирина Львовна Еремеева.
The
Our
prizes are being
overall
given by Irina
Continental
Yeremeeva.
Cup winner, Simon Tiller. Yeah, it's pretty much the
Первое
truth.
место
Excellent
занял Теренс Вебер,
result for him,
Германия.
considering who was
Goes to
his
Terence Weber, Germany.
Церемонию
only
награждения
opponents
проводит Александр
that could
Викторович
actually
Маслов.
beat
The
him.
prizes are being given by Alexander Maslov.
Terence Weber of Germany. Also making it 3 out of 3. The victory in the 10-kilometer Gundersen on Friday, the victory yesterday in the must-start competition, and also the victory today in the extended Gundersen.
Звучит гимн страны победителя.
And of course we are going to hear now the national anthem of Germany.
Просим наших уважаемых гостей сделать общее фото со спортсменами.
The photograph with the official guests of the ceremony.
Спасибо нашим уважаемым гостям. Просим медалистов остаться на пьедестале почета для фото.
And the photograph with the athletes only.
And the next ceremonies to follow are
And we are
the
continuing the prize
ceremonies
giving
for
ceremony.
the overall Continental Cup ranking, where we are supposed to see
Награждаются
the
лучшие
top
спортсмены
3
общего зачета
athletes.
континентального кубка по лыжному двоеборью среди женщин.
The prize giving ceremony for the overall winner for the Nordic Continental Cup among women.
Once again, we are starting with the
Второе и
women. We
третье
do
место
actually see
поделили сразу
three
две спортсменки.
women,
The
but
second
only
and third
two
place
positions
is
actually,
shared by two
and
athletes.
one of them is actually not
Тара
taken
Герасимов, США.
since
Gida
Gida Westwold Hansen, who
Норвегия.
finished
Tara Gerdimov,
second
United
with
States,
equal
and
score
Gida Westwold
of 300
Hansen,
points, as well
Norway.
as Tara Gareth
В
Demotes
отсутствие Гиды
was not competing
Вестфолд
here.
Хансен на награждение приглашается ее тренер.
Instead of Gida Westwold Hansen, her coach is welcome to claim the trophy.
Церемонию награждения проводит Дмитрий Эдуардович Дубровский.
The prizes
So
are
one of the
being given
Norwegian
by
coaches
Dmitry
will actually
Dubrovsky.
take the trophy for her. This will most likely be one from the men's stuff, since obviously the women were not competing here. But that's definitely a nice duty for him to take that home. And he also refuses to actually take a spot on the podium. If the photographer doesn't tell him to do different, actually.
You don't want to stand on the podium?
Церемонию награждения проводит Дмитрий Эдуардович Дубровский.
Okay, yeah, he definitely refuses.
Have been given
Well, that's
by
understandable.
Dmitry
It would be a bit weird if suddenly a coach is appearing on the podium, actually. We had so many ceremonies without having all medalists.
Первое место
On the
заняла
podium.
Sigrun.
I can recall a podium ceremony for the
Overall winner
Women's Ski
Sigrun
Jumping World Cup in
Kleinrad,
Planica, where only Sara Takanashi and Maya Utic were present.
Церемонию
Must have been in
проводит
Planica
Александр
2016.
Викторович Маслав.
And I think it was
prizes are being
Daniela
given by
Irashko-Stolz
Alexander
missing.
Maslov.
But luckily, our Continental Cup champion, our new Continental Cup champion, is with us today. Sigrun Kleinrad, with a total amount of 320 points. She is taking the Continental Cup overall victory. Alongside her Alpen Cup overall victory. Amazing achievements for the young Austrian,
The national anthem of Austria.
whose anthem is gonna be played right now.
Просим наших уважаемых. Просим наших уважаемых гостей сделать общее фото со спортсменами.
They photograph with the official guests of the ceremony.
Спасибо нашим уважаемым гостям. Просим медалистов остаться на пьедестале почета для фото.
And now the photograph with the overall winners only.
Продолжаем церемонию награждения.
And we are continuing the prize-giving ceremony.
Награждаются лучшие спортсмены общего зачета континентального кубка по лыжному
So,
двоеборью
same
среди
procedure
мужчин.
now
The
for
next awards are being
the
given
men.
to the overall winners of the Nordic Combined Continental
the
Cup
top 3
among men.
athletes of the Continental Cup
Третье место занял
2020-2021
Давид Мах,
for
Германия.
the men.
Welcome
And
to the third
actually,
place, David Mach, Germany.
Церемонию награждения
All
проводит Дмитрий Эдуардович
of
Дубровский.
the 3
Prizes are
athletes
being
are
given
with
by
us. On
Dmitry
third
Dubrovsky.
place, David Mach, the best German with 447 points, scoring 7 points more than Espen Andersen, the Norwegian who wasn't here with us. But
Второе место занял Ларс
therefore,
Ивар
the second
Скорсет,
and also the
Норвегия.
first
Please
place
welcome
will
for
be
the
taken
second
by
place, Lars Ivar
Norwegians
Skorseth,
Lars Ivar
Norway.
Skorseth,
Церемонию награждения проводит Ирина Львовна Еремеева.
himself
Prizes are being
5
given by
points
Irina
ahead
Yeremeyeva.
of David Mach, 452 points for him.
Первое место занял Симон
And the
Тиллер,
first
Норвегия.
place
The overall winner of
goes
the
to
2020-2021
Simen Tiller,
season.
also
Winner
Norway,
is Simen
with
Tiller,
629
Награждение проводит
points.
Александр Викторович Маслов.
The prize are being given by Alexander Maslov.
He competed in 9 events and finished outside of the podium only 3 times, so it's a well-deserved overall victory for him. And to honor him, now the Norwegian
Звучит гимн
national
страны
anthem
победителя.
will be
National
played.
anthem of Norway.
Просим наших уважаемых гостей сделать общее фото со спортсменами.
The photograph is the official guest.
Спасибо нашим уважаемым гостям. Просим медалистов остаться на пьедестале почета для фото.
Now the photograph with the overall winners.
And then we are awaiting the
Награждение
2
победителя Кубка
remaining
нации
ceremonies
континентального кубка
for
по лыжному двоеборью
the
среди женщин.
nation
We're
ranking
continuing with the prize-giving ceremony
winners.
for the Nations Cup among women.
И чемпионом стала
Once again,
команда
the women
Австрии.
The
will
champion
start,
is
and
the
the overall
national team
winner
of Austria.
was
Просим членов
Austria
команды
with
пройти
a
на
total
пьедестал
of
почета.
1,214
Dear
points.
representatives of the team, please welcome to
They
the podium.
took the victory
Награждение
from
проводит Дмитрий
Norway,
Эдуардович Дубровский.
The prize have been
who
given by
scored
Dmitry
1,053
Dubrovsky.
points, but obviously wasn't competing here and could not defend their first position. But like I said, the Austrians did a great job here. They had the same amount of competitions as the Norwegians
The national anthem of
could
Austria.
possibly compete, and now we hear the Austrian anthem once again.
Награждение победителя Кубка наций континентального кубка по лыжному двоеборью среди мужчин.
And now the Nation Cup for men.
And last but not
Чемпионом
least,
стала команда
we will
Норвегия.
see
The Nation
the
Cup
overall
goes
Nations
to
Cup
Norway.
winner for the men.
Просим членов команды
Which
пройти
is
на пьедестал почета.
No
The
surprise,
representative of the national
Norway.
team, please welcome to the podium.
Награждение проводит Александр Викторович
3,170
The
Маслов.
prize has been given
points.
by Alexander Maslov.
the squad scored. Pretty small delegation, but at least they are not enough to actually take the trophy home.
Звучит гимн страны победителя.
National anthem
And of
of
course,
Norway.
obligatory, the Norwegian national anthem.
Спасибо всем гостям континентального кубка по лыжному двоеборью. Наши соревнования подошли к
So,
концу.
that's a
Ждем
wrap.
вас в Нижнем
Not
Тагиле в
only
сезоне
for the
2021
FIS
2022
Nordic
годов.
Combined Continental Cup
Dear guests
finals
and
here in
participants of
Nizhny
the Nordic
Tagil, but
Combined
also
Continental
for
Cup,
the
thank you
FIS
very much, and
Continental
we're
Cup
looking
in Nordic
forward to
Combined
seeing you in Nizhny Tagil
season
in the season of
2020-2021.
2022.
It definitely was one of a kind. One we won't forget too soon, but I think we managed to
А
do
мы
our best
продолжаем
to
наши
actually finish this
соревнования.
off
И сейчас
in
стартует
style.
гонка
Don't forget,
тренера.
next week we are having the
And
FIS
now
World
the
Cup
race
final
for the
in
coaches.
Klingenthal. And then, unfortunately, the long spring break is coming ahead. Usually the toughest time of our winter sports fans. But I hope you will be able to enjoy this time. Hopefully it will be a bit different than last year. And then we are looking forward to the summer if the COVID situation will us allow to make it a bit better than last year. Don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts. Stay tuned for all the updates, everything you need to know for the upcoming season and Olympic season. Don't forget about that. That's it from my side. It was a pleasure to be a commentator. I hope you enjoyed this coverage. My name is Luis Holuch. Wishing you a nice rest of the weekend. Hopefully see and hear you very, very soon. Bye bye.